Welcome to ISE's ETF and Index Weekly Outlook, a weekly outlook on ETFs and ISE's indexes, hosted by Patrick Ceresna, the Chief Derivative Market Strategist at OptionSource.net. ISE has a portfolio of more than 20 proprietary indexes based on a diverse range of fast-growing industries and emerging markets. Our team of indexing experts is dedicated to creating these innovative indexes and partnering with issuers to launch unique investment vehicles. This includes exchange-traded funds, exchange-traded notes, and other structured products. ISE continually enhances its trading platform and develops new index products to provide investors with the best marketplace and investment tools to trade smarter.
Hello and welcome to the ISE ETF and Index Outlook for July 15, 2012. This is Patrick Ceresna. As always, we start off with a chart of the S&P 500 using that spider exchange rate fund symbol SPY. We more or less have had the S&P 500 have a bit of a correction last week to only end with a very strong reversal on Friday. And while it was quite an impressive follow-through day on Friday, we remain relatively skeptical of its sustainability and believe while there is definitely room to retest even the highs in the 137, 138 area along the upside, it is likely to again be a false start on the upside that will be eventually sold once it runs out of momentum. So at this stage we'll be watching Monday whether or not there is a continued follow through on such a strong day, but overall we remain skeptical. We still believe that this summer will bring about one more round of selling. Whether that starts in this month of July or whether it prolongs into August is yet to be seen, but it is unlikely that the next robust expansion of the markets is going to start from here, and more than likely we still have to do another test and basing period for throughout the summer before we really find a good market bottom from which we could accumulate for the remainder of the year. Next year, we're going to take a look at the ISE Natural Gas Index, which is a symbol FUM, and the Natural Gas Index has actually had some good strength in the last month or so after putting in a short-term bottom. Overall, the natural gas space is finally getting a little bit of a bid after natural gas as a commodity has finally bounced off of its extremely oversold prices. Overall, we still think that there's going to be a correlation with a lot of the natural gas stocks with that of the broader resource-based stocks, which could still have a choppy summer. So we're not too eager to become overly optimistic, but one thing that we are going to be testing the theory as to whether or not the 85-87 will be a key low, and next time the market has another correction, we'll be seeing whether or not it puts in double bottoms and holds those support lines or even higher highs to kind of bang out some sort of a bigger trading bottom along these levels. Next year, I want to take a look at the ISE Chindia Index, which is symbol ICK, and this index has, even though it's bottomed at about the same time as all the markets at the end of May and the first week of June, but overall the strength in this comeback has been very weak, and the Chindia Index continues to be predominantly bearish in its price action, with the breakdown that occurred on Thursday, with the subsequent very weak reversal on Friday, continues to suggest that this index is predominantly still being distributed. And while we don't necessarily believe it will break the 42-43 area while the S&P is holding up, but when we see some broad selling among all global markets, this Chindia Index could not only break down that level but achieve some key downside targets. So we originally were looking for strength even as the 47 to 50 level, and we just barely scratched the 47 level before the selling intensified, just to show how weak that market was. But really our downside targets will lay even as low as the 36 level on the downside during the next waves of selling. It doesn't always have to reach the most extreme target on the downside, but we're definitely looking for this index to be poised for further weakness when the broader markets sell. Finally, I want to take a look at the ISE Global Wind Index, which is a symbol GWE. And originally, a month or so ago, when we set our initial downside price targets, we were looking for the move to end around the 70 level on the downside before finding support. But the weakness in this index was so predominantly strong that it made it all the way to the $65 area before basing and creating that same kind of flagging formation as we've seen in the Chindia index. Really, at this stage, with the way the weakness is in a breakdown, this wind index continues to be predominantly bearish. And while again we don't necessarily believe it has to break the 65-67 level in this initial push, we do still think that there's some bearish scenarios. Now, there's two things that we want to cover. Number one, what is the likelihood that the global wind index will simply consolidate and bang out bottoms, like double bottoms in this, when the broader market could potentially be distributing? What's the probability that this will not sell during that time frame? And we don't think that that's a very high probability, even though it's such an extremely oversold index. Nonetheless, if we do get the more probable scenario, which is a break of that level, we could see even as low as $50 using a measured target. But if it is going to be kind of already slowing and it's going to be a shortened final move, creating sort of an inverted head and shoulders, it might find support at the $60 level before retracing back to the 70 on the upside. Nonetheless, we are still expecting further weakness into the summer before we are going to look for a bottom on this global wind index. That was your ISE ETF and Index Outlook. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for participating in this week's session. Please join us again next week. For more information about Patrick Ceresna and to sign up for free ETF and index trade alerts, visit www.optionsource.net. To learn more about ISE's indexes and ETFs, visit us at www.ise.com/ETF.